Welcome to our 5th podcast. We started on January 6th, and now we're to January 26th on a Friday night, and Matt pulled up in a brand new rig. Anyhow, podcast 5, Matt Moreno, Brent Moreno, Chris Moreno, and Slani Patrick. All right, we're ready to go. Here we go. We're going to go with the NFL spreads. Go ahead, Chris.
All right, we're coming into the Super Bowl. Patriots face off against the Eagles. The Patriots are favored by 5, and the total is 48. Things to keep in mind is they have wacky prop bets. My favorite prop bet of the night is no touchdown scored is plus 8,000. So that means it'll be a 3-0 game, and I'm going to win $1 million. Other than that, they have who they think is going to score first, and it's your usual suspects such as Gronk. They have Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Cooks, and those guys are going off at plus 1,000. It's kind of ridiculous what's going on. Gronkowski's plus 700, Deion Lewis plus 800, and the list goes on and on.
What are the place kickers?
Place kickers, that'd be the first point scored in the game, which I have to scroll down further here to look at.
Because that would be a doable one.
This is crazy. They have the one that I always look at is margins of victory. Still looking. Plus 2,000, the Eagles win by 11 to 13.
We're observing radio silence.
Okay, first scoring play of the Super Bowl. Eagles, any other type of touchdown would be plus 1,500. But Brent has pulled up a great stat here. Go ahead, Brent. Tell him what you think.
Player calling opening coin toss will be correct or wrong with his choice.
Oh, I like wrong.
I love that. That's my favorite
And they're both
one.
going off at minus 105.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
So explain that to me. Minus 105.
You have to bet 105 to win 100.
You got to bet 105 to win 100?
Yeah.
Well, for us, it's we'll bet 11 to win 10.
Yeah, we're...
Wouldn't that be 10.50 to win 10?
No, they round up.
Oh, they round up.
to 11.
No change.
No change.
No change in the cyber bookie
No
world.
one exchanges coins.
Man. So
Bitcoins.
do you think they have an exacta? I mean,
Yeah.
I know.
you pick the right, you
Yeah.
pick heads, and you pick the guy to call it right.
Yeah.
They don't let you parlay props. It makes me so mad. I
Oh,
want to parlay all
can you
the
imagine
props.
the odds on that?
$10 to the heads to the receiver.
Let's see.
Yeah.
$6,000 for a $15 bet.
How about the guy counting the people at the gate?
Yeah.
Honorina.
This
Yeah.
opening segment brought to you by Degenerate
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gamblers.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah, we
ones
should
that-
call this podcast
the first-
Paul and the Degenerate Gamblers, right?
Paul the Degenerates.
The first scoring play of the game. Eagles, any other kind of touchdowns plus 1,500. Eagles field goals plus 350. Patriots field goal plus 300. Patriots, any other type of TD is plus 2,000. So that's like a pick six.
Oh, man.
Stuff like that.
God, that's worth doing until you lose.
Right.
Best
Isn't that the
Let's
case
see.
in most bets?
best bang for your buck is MVP selection. If Philip Dorsett wins the MVP, it's plus 25,000
25,000, huh?
to win $2,500.
Wow.
That's a bang for your buck right there.
Yeah.
That's
I will bet
a
Brady
stretch.
put 1,000 on Dorsett and he's going to throw the rock to him. And Brady will still win the MVP. Because Brady's going off at minus 180. So $180 win
He's
100.
the clear favorite.
He's a clear, obvious favorite. Now, the best part about this is the stats have been coming out, all that wacky stuff. The funniest one is the Patriots, in the last 7 Super Bowls they've been in, have not scored a point in the first quarter. Have not scored a point in the first quarter.
So that
These
eliminates the
Patriot
Patriots.
facts are just
So scoring first,
solid fills his head.
you don't even know what's going on. Well, it's interesting because they're there all the time.
What size underwear is Brady wearing for this game?
You're wearing a 32-inch
42
waist, and
inches.
they're
He actually gets his
He's
Calvin
actually wearing
Klein's
a size
tailored.
smaller to help him run faster.
Oh, I thought it was just to make him look bigger.
I'm not sure that'd make him run faster, Brent.
I like that to make him look bigger.
You think he gets his underwear tailored specifically to his crotch?
And
Well,
I
you
picked.
got to suck that crotch in. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you got all that extra cloth in the middle.
Was that a Tom Brady has a small penis joke?
You said that.
That's usually your words.
Implications can be dangerous.
You guys throw the hobbits all year and see how well you do.
All right, we're done with the spreads now, so now we're going to move on to the next subject.
Hard segue.
Okay, we're going to talk about our favorite Super Bowl, and we'll lead it off with Matt. Go ahead.
I could not narrow this down to one favorite Super Bowl, so I picked 3. The one I'm going to start off with is 2003 Bucks versus Raiders. Bucks won 48-21. Gruden's revenge on the Raiders. Everyone remembers that. But the reason that made my list is because it was the one and only Super Bowl that I ever actually attended. So driving down, found out about it 8 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, something like that. Found out about it, hopped on a charter bus down to San Diego, made it to the game about an hour before kickoff, and still have vivid memories of Warren Sapp hyping up the crowd in the late third quarter when everyone in the stadium knew it was over. It was just one of those experiences. Live football is something to behold, and a live Super Bowl is 10 times that. So that made my list.
Qualcomm, right?
Yeah, still Qualcomm. Or was it Three Rivers? No, that's
Jack Murphy.
Well, it's
Was Jack
Philip
Murphy
Rivers.
Jack Murphy.
It's Philip Rivers, definitely.
It was in San Diego, so it was all standing room anyway.
Yeah, well, hey, nosebleeds are nosebleeds, but hey, I got to see. I was in the Buccaneers end zone side, staring through the uprights from most of the game. It was pretty awesome. Still have the ticket stub. And then the next one is '95. My Niners destroyed the Chargers 49-26. Probably the earliest memory I have of a Super Bowl. I don't necessarily. I remember the Cowboys Super Bowls. I remember the David Beebe hustling on God, who was it? Leon Lett.
I couldn't remember.
Who was the guy? Who was the big cowboy that fumbled?
Oh, that was Leon Lett.
Leon
In
Lett,
the
right?
Snowball. You mean
Yeah.
Thanksgiving when he?
Oh, was
That
that
one?
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I think it
I
was.
thought he did something again in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he went the wrong way, didn't he?
I forgot. But I remember the frickin' Cowboys Bills massacres. But this is the one that I remember vividly. Steve Young, Jerry Rice, Steve on the sideline saying, "Get that monkey off my back," and he did.
Ooh, there it is.
Yeah, first one of the night. And then, of course, my absolute favorite Super Bowl memory of all time, 2008, the infamous 18-1 season. 54 receptions, 650 yards, and 4 TDs on a career. And that doesn't sound like a whole lot to anyone, really. But David Tyree will forever live in my heart with that helmet catch and knocking off Brady and his perfect season.
Game's still under formal protest.
Yeah, they can protest it all
Talk
they
to
want.
the Rams.
So is the plate game.
Yeah, no.
So is film game.
That
That's right.
catch.
They got
Oh,
two
I
more.
guess
They got
so,
two
yeah.
more. That doesn't matter.
That catch was just.
But the minor leaguer David Tyree destroyed the Goliath that year. I was at a shitty little dive bar in Mahabra watching it with a bunch of freaking low life degenerates, and the room was pretty split. But when that catch came in, I think everybody screamed or cheered or said something. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in a Super Bowl.
It was as though that catch opened up the floodgates for the remarkable catches from there on out.
Yeah.
You saw one-handers, but that catch, it was funny. That's kind of like the beginning of the great remarkable catches we're getting all the time.
Oh, you're talking about now, like the Odell
Yeah,
Beckhams and
the
all
one-handers,
Right.
just unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know,
All
what
the
these guys are doing.
All the cameras they have too, all the angles you get to see that how unreal it was, especially with review and watching it over and over again.
But those are my Super Bowls.
Those are good ones. Right? Any fond memories?
Nope,
Nope.
cool, move along.
Like them all.
No, Brent likes everyone, just like women. Okay, we weren't supposed to talk about that. Go ahead,
Jonathan?
Chris.
I'll be like Matt and do it real quick. Bucks, Raiders, like we already talked about. Loved it. My dad and I both got kicked out of the Super Bowl party.
The Modulation Bowl.
Yes, and my dad won every bit of the money, and his brother was pissed at him. The rest of his
Oh,
family
I was
pissed at
obnoxious,
him.
but that was a great one.
I
for
think I
Ben.
was 13. I think I had to drive home. But no, we were
Got
good.
pulled over and said you were a dwarf.
Said you're a
There you
dwarf.
go, Brent. There's
Oh,
your story.
There you go.
Oh my
That
god.
one for sure, and then watching the Rams win their first and only Super Bowl was incredible. The next one was the Patriots beating the Rams. The Rams are going to come back. I'm thinking they have a shot. And then Brady enters as the GOAT.
And Chris is never a Rams fan again.
I was crushed because I invited a girl
I did-
over to the Super Bowl party.
I thought they were just going to send it to overtime in that game, and they went right down. I wonder how they knew what to do. It was incredible. Oh, that's right. They watched their practices.
If Mike Martz handed the ball off 20 more times, they probably would have won that
Spygate.
game.
Spygate.
And of course, last year's game.
That was a great one.
What was last year's game? I don't remember that.
Patriots are down 28-3.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, Falcons.
Only overtime game, only football, only Super Bowl ever to end with a walk-off touchdown.
Hey, at least my Jaguars didn't lose by that big of, like, when they were leading that much. They just lost by a 10-point lead.
Whatever you gotta tell yourself, special.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Brady's only done
they
it
had to
8
play the
times.
refs too. 2 teams had to play.
I've been weeping. So I guess I'm only going to list one. It had to be, I had no team in the game, but when I despise Pete Carroll, when Malcolm Butler picked off that on the 2-yard line, for the end of the game. You have Marshawn Lynch in the backfield, and they throw a quick slant, and Malcolm Butler just reads it like it's nothing, and that ended the game. Just that meme of Richard Sherman looking like he just saw his dog die. It's the best thing ever. Oh my God, there was just so much emotion there, and that was the first time. That was the first time I've ever seen Pete Carroll actually stop chewing his gum.
But
The only registered time in
Belichick
history.
He found that cap.
had gone over that at practice, that very scenario with the very kid who did it. That was something, man.
7 or 8 times again.
It's fantastic.
My it's not my favorite, but my most memorable was the first time that the Rams got to the Super Bowl. They won the NFC Championship game 9-0 on my birthday, January 6th. They beat the Bucks. Doug Williams was a quarterback, but they won 9-0. And then they got into that Super Bowl against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was on a run, and I was gambling back then. The spread was 11.5, and the Rams were leading at halftime. They lost 31-19. 12. I had gone down to the bank and said, "Hey, I'd like to count some money I'm going to get right now," and it was unbelievable. That was my most memorable, not my favorite. I think the San Diego game where San Francisco killed them was my favorite because I won a ton of money on that. And of course, the Rams winning when they were in St. Louis. But I'm doing the 3 like Matt. But basically, memorable, not favorite. The first 3 were awesome. When you were a kid and this whole thing started out, and the NFL was so much better than the AFL. It was so much better. There wasn't even any way that they could keep up. And then when the third one came around and Namath promised that they would win, that was incredible because Baltimore at the time was a juggernaut. They were unbeatable, and they beat them, and that really set the NFL to where it's at now. It set them on their way. And of course, P. Rozelle, Monday Night Football, ruined our.
All fun. I think hearing you guys talk about all those. I mean, the Malcolm Butler one, that was probably one of my most memorable ones, just because, goddamn, that kid came out of nowhere and made that play. But I mean, I don't have a favorite. I just enjoy watching all of them. It doesn't matter to me.
It's amazing to see what's going on now because the Patriots far and away, and I'm not a Patriot fan. I was at one time, but not on this latest run. How good they are, because there was a time when the Miami Dolphins were dominant. They went undefeated, and that's considered one of the greatest teams of all time. It seems like 3,000 years ago when that happened, because the Patriots now are the greatest dynasty of all time, without a doubt. The Brady-Belichick dynasty it's comparable to the Yanks, to the Canadians, to the Celtics. It is truly one of the greatest sports runs ever.
So we're discussing a topic here. It is basically, is the NFL getting too sensitive with the concussion rule or concussion protocol and everything? Whether it be hitting a defenseless receiver or hitting quarterback too high. My argument is on the side that they are a little too sensitive with it because, in a sense, this is not protecting the defensive backs that are getting like good hits on what would be a crossing route for a receiver. I understand if you're hitting somebody with malicious intent, but when you have people in a certain situation where you're coming up and you're not quite there to make a play on the ball, but you have a good shot at a hit, it's just a 15-yard penalty you have to take because if you slow up, you could possibly get injured.
Not only that, in the game of football, part of the beauty of lining a guy up is separating him from the ball because your team gets the ball.
Yeah,
that's the intent. I was arguing earlier that if they want to really cut the fat off all this stuff, the NFL has to look at what these guys are doing to their bodies and how they're getting to this superhuman state. Because if a guy gets injured naturally, that's part of the game, and he's out. When these guys heal, baseball already took care of it. These guys heal as quickly as they do or can play at this level like that. They're superhuman, so you're going to get superhuman injuries. You just can't hold up against these guys. A 300-pound guy who can run you down, who's running 40 or 10 yards and can just annihilate you. It's just they have to start there if they're really serious about carrying on this whole thing about the health of all the players. I think it's a bunch of bullshit, really.
Also, I'm not aware, but I can't remember the last time I heard a football player getting busted for PEDs. It's more commonly heard in baseball, correct?
Right.
Right, but football players are using Adderall to cover it up, and the coach who's been doing that is Pete Carroll. He's had 25 Adderall suspensions since he's been the head coach to cover up what they're doing. And my argument, I'm agreeing with you guys about the sensitivity. My argument is they signed up, they signed the dotted line, they know other people are out there cheating, they know other people are out there are flying around. They also know that they're running that post route and they're running that fade route, so they know that their head is going to be in danger. And I know those defensive players are saying this, but very rare when you hear like a defensive player's out with a helmet-to-helmet situation. It's always the offensive player, which is why they're protecting the offensive player more.
And the funny thing is, I've seen the defensive players that go out with the helmet-to-helmet injuries. It's usually from their own teammate.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're all
and
fine.
that's how it goes. I mean,
But I think the NFL is playing the we really care line, and they're still printing their own money. They don't give a shit about the players.
They don't. They're just. It's like the TSA. It's like, we don't know what to do, so we're going to just ban everything. It's they're going over to show that they care when realistically it's not the right answer. It's just all that they know to do.
they're
right
protecting
now.
themselves
Does that make
legally.
sense?
They're protecting themselves legally.
Right.
Yeah.
But, and it's easy for us to talk about occupational hazards when we're talking about the big name guys that we've seen for years and years. But realistically, the average lifespan of an NFL player is what, 2 seasons?
or something.
Right, it's something crazy.
Yeah.
So we don't think about all the players that got hurt that we didn't even know who they were. You know, I mean, we are only thinking about, Larry Fitzgerald's been in the league 20 years and he tells people not to take his legs out.
How are they
Explain
going
that a little
to
more.
curb this when they have a combine? And basically, college football is the minor leagues for the NFL,
Right.
and everybody wants to play. I mean, seriously, if they said to me, steroids, and you can pitch in the majors, I would have signed on the dotted line.
Everybody at this table would have taken PEDs if it guaranteed
Right.
us a spot in the show.
When-
We all
Inch or
know
two
that.
higher to be taller.
When you're
elsewhere.
when you're young like that,
Just wanna
you
have
want to
s-
do that.
I just
'cause
wanna
you
be
really
better
do
in
love
bed.
the game.
Right.
But I think the fault lies definitely with the NFL. They're kidding themselves. I mean, Conrad Dobler, Webster, the center for the Steelers, those guys, they're a mess, man. And
Right.
the NFL isn't doing anything, and they're printing their own money. It's ridiculous. So
Okay.
that's my spin on it.
Post career, yes, the NFL's fucking up.
Oh,
Post-career,
absolutely.
They should be taking care of these guys a little bit more for what they put into the league
Right.
and what they did for the league. Yes, absolutely. However, those guys that are in the league right now, occupational fucking hazard. You knew exactly what you
Right,
did when you
right.
signed up.
Well, that's the
But
same
the
thing. Like,
NFL can control it by taking the substance abuse out. The
But I don't-
PEDs.
The substance abuse doesn't change the mentality of the players.
Right.
Oh, we'll
You
never.
I think me and Brent, Brent's what, 6'2"?
6 foot, 260.
6'3" on Tinder.
Hard dick and dynasty.
6'2".
I'm 5'10". Let's just put it this way: we're not on any superhuman things. But if Brent hit me in the head,
Yeah, you line these two up again in front of each other at, let's say, an average practice. One's an offensive lineman, one's a defensive lineman. By the end of the day, one of them's got a concussion.
whoa, why are we linemen?
Okay,
That's
sure.
not fair.
Okay,
Really?
How about
Really?
defensive end and tight end? How about that? Because neither one of you are a fucking receiver.
One, I am an H-back type. Two, Brent is a
If
strong
by
safety
H-back
coming
you
down
mean
hard.
heavy back, then yeah.
So
If Chris is an H-back, I'm a wideout.
Yeah.
So, but you're talking about
I have a
taking out.
glandular problem.
You're talking about taking out PEDs in the NFL. The NFL, they'll tell you that they have all these policies in place to ban
They do.
PEDs in the NFL. Right.
It's a
I
matter
mean, like
of-
we said about the Adderall earlier.
Yes.
That they're getting around it by using Adderall to hide it, things like that. So technically, it's in place. Like they're banning PEDs from the NFL, but realistically, they're not. I mean, it's still happening. Their players are just getting smarter about hiding it.
I don't think so. I think it's clear cut. You look at these guys, and there's no way. This is all lifting weights
Off season
and working out.
I'm sure off season is PED like no one's drug testing me in the off season. I'm just gonna get huge.
Unless you're Josh Gordon.
Well, you just drink liquor
That's-
all the time.
That's not how
You don't
that
think
works.
that's true?
No, that's not how it works at all, because what they do is they do a standard drug test at the end of March and then at the end of April before you enter OTAs. Then it's random drug tests during the summer while you're working out.
Okay,
the
so-
only reason why I know that is because of
Okay,
My
so
buddy.
your team didn't make the playoffs and you're out in November.
okay, so you're not going to take it during that time.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
got you.
Then what? Yeah, you
Oh, no,
have
I-
all the way until March.
But no, they're.
Well, that's what-
But
Yeah,
if you know how these PEDs work though,
Unless you're Philip Rivers.
it's
then
like
I don't
it's
think
on
you're
cycles
gonna
too. I mean, dude, you
Right,
could
right.
put in 3 or 4 months of solid
That's what
like
I'm saying.
work and taking it and everything. You need to maintain.
even if you're out today, the next week after the Super
I
Bowl.
think
I guess
they're all playing.
So work until March, you can get pretty big if you're taking
Not
PEDs
like
from
yeah,
Yeah, but
January
you-
to March.
you have
but
huge
can't
drop-off.
maintain it.
No,
You-
but if
You
you
absolutely can.
so
you cannot maintain. it.
so what
Not-
It's protein shakes.
what I know
And
about
bananas.
PEDs,
Gaseous
or
clay over there.
what I've seen from PEDs, because being in the Army, I've seen a lot of people take steroids, right? Injection and pill form. What I've seen them do is they almost like change your body structure, where like somebody with a frame similar to Patrick, you're a smaller frame compared to like me, right? But someone with a frame like you, no, I'm saying if he doesn't work out.
But you're 6 foot.
Right. Someone with a frame like you, I've seen transform into a frame as
Like-
wide as mine in 2 weeks with PEDs.
But you did that with pizza.
No, I'm talking about
In a week and a
A
half.
I'm
fuck ton
talking
of
about
pizza.
steroid use and gym for 2 weeks straight. I've seen somebody transform from a skinnier frame to a huge frame, and then his body stayed that way as long as he maintained the gym all
Yeah,
the time.
and that's yes, that's
Yes.
yes.
No, 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 no.
That's
That is
impossible.
diet, that is PEDs, and that is
I'm
gym.
not,
No, I'm saying there's a third aspect too.
but
You
I'm
can't.
saying you can get off the steroids.
No, yeah,
And your body will maintain the frame.
you're not going to maintain
but you
the
will have
strength.
to work out. Right,
You're not gonna maintain the
It
strength.
doesn't. PEDs don't change your bone structure.
No, I'm not saying
No, no, no.
bullshit.
He's
I'm
just saying you're
like,
going to
I
add.
understand what
the
you're saying.
way your body
the girth. I get it, the muscle
Right,
mass and all
right.
that. But you got to remember too, you're putting it on a structure that isn't built for that. All these other guys are overbuilt, but they maintain this, I think, with additives, without a doubt. And the only guys that really don't, that can't, are quarterbacks. But they're getting bigger and bigger, and that's the problem. You have these huge guys going against guys who have to be nimble and throw the ball.
All right.
And the NFL, my point is, the NFL is the one who's putting a stamp on this, yet going, we're really concerned about the injuries in the game. Bullshit. They're part of it.
And my argument is you take PEDs out and you're still gonna have the same concussions.
Yeah.
You will.
Possibly, okay, you might be right, but I don't think you're going to see the superhuman things that go on like they do. I think a guy like J.J. Watt, I think you're seeing the destruction of a guy kind of sort of because of these
His
things.
joints can't handle
Right.
everything
Right.
that he does.
Right. And that's what I'm
He
talking
plays
about. It's
for
like,
the Texans.
His body can't handle
His
playing
body
like
can't
that.
That's true.
He-
He's
those
been
are
carrying
things
that.
You're right. They
He's
won a
been
Super
carrying
Bowl.
that team for the past 6 years, 5
My
years.
back would be sore too.
Oh shit, his knees are
Played for
getting
the last
down.
3 years. What are you guys talking about?
Did you?
Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago.
8 years ago.
That too.
That guy blows.
My favorite
Save,
player. My favorite
save
player in the
Houston
NFL.
my ass.
Okay, but seriously though, you take PEDs out of the game, it's not going to change the mentality of that strong safety. It's not going to change the mentality of that middle linebacker.
I think it does. It definitely does. A good example.
Does not change their approach on the ball in midair. It does not change their approach on
It changes
covering
their
receivers
approach
right
over
the
time,
middle.
and I can tell you why. And I'm going to use this as a comparison. As soon as they cracked down in Major League Baseball, the home run totals went down, and there was a reason why. You know,
So
obviously,
what's your explanation for that?
Well, they're back up.
nobody hit 80 home runs.
No, but-
but-
the
70
entire
the
The
league
league
cumulative-
broke a
yeah.
home run record this year.
Yeah, but not like that. Not 70 and 80.
You had two
It's just-
rookies.
And what's down in Major League Baseball because of this? Pitching.
Oh, they're saying bunting.
You're comparing apples to oranges.
But
You're
strikeouts
I'm
are up.
comparing athleticism and being enhanced by using these
Right.
substances.
But
That's
a
what
home
I'm
run
saying.
is not putting your body on the line to lay out a receiver or coming out.
Well,
of it
you're
and
wrong
making the
because you
ball.
got to go a whole season and maintain that sort of strength. So it is like
No.
doing that.
Matt's question was, how does that change the way they?
Because
take
your
them,
body
like,
can't
on the ball?
do what it did before.
So-
And when a guy, hold on, when a guy is injured in football, and a lot of guys play injured, you do think differently. You don't hit with that shoulder that's soft.
Okay.
Okay, I think Ronnie Lott, towards the end of his career, right? Didn't he have a bad shoulder, I think? I think he
Bad
did.
everything.
Yeah, so, I mean, not that he wasn't a great player,
Mhm.
and I don't think he was a guy who was really juicing that much, maybe.
Right.
But naturally and normally, injuries took its toll,
I
like
see what
it
you're saying.
does,
I see what you're saying.
and it changes the game.
So-
Now you're going to have a bunch of NFL guys who are hurting, which you do week to
Right.
week. Everybody's played football here. It hurts, and it's supposed to. It's part of the beauty of the game.
So that's like, so PEDs, right? Obviously making yourself stronger, but we're talking about like you're talking about with your injured shoulder in the NFL now.
You're talking
Like
repair,
cortisone, like
recovery.
cortisone shots.
Yes, recovery.
Right,
HGH
right.
is it repairs you and makes you feel
Right.
better.
Well-
when if you don't, those are the Hall of Famers, the guys who go out with a bad knee
Right,
and
keep
still
going.
perform.
Right. Well, now now they do the cortisone shot. We see this all the time. Somebody.
Oh, they
hurts
go
their
in that
knee.
they go in that blue
Yeah,
tent.
they go in the tent.
They go in that
get
blue
their
tent.
cortisone
Yeah,
shot,
tent.
so they don't feel it anymore, and then they keep going. It's not HGH or it's not PEDs, but it will numb the pain, and then you go out. And
You've
play.
had cortisone.
No. But I'm just saying, like that's
Cortisone
how
hurts
that's how it
like
works.
hell.
I've
It
had
hurt
The
really
initial shot hurts like hell.
and it
3 times.
it fucking sucked for me. And I know these guys want to play. One of the greatest sports movies, we were talking about it earlier, was North Dallas 40, and in it there's a guy who's supposed to be, I think it's Dallas, a wide receiver, I can't remember, but they shoot him in the knee
Mhm.
and he plays, but he's
Right.
injured.
Right.
Now, you know what that does to your career? That's the other thing too. These guys don't want to do that shit anymore, and I can see why. But because they're so built up and they can repair quicker, things are much better nowadays in that regard. They don't have to do that. But you have guys who play at the top level constantly who are talented.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the guys who are talented are playing, but when you're banged up, it definitely cuts into your talent and your approach. That's my argument.
Okay. And I don't think you're wrong. I don't disagree with you. I just think that I don't know. I really don't know. I think that PEDs, like I said, like the NFL, technically on paper, they're stopping the best that they can the PEDs, but realistically, I don't think that's
How many times do you think an offensive lineman takes a play
Oh.
off? Takes a play off.
Oh God, I don't know.
The play's going away from him.
Oh yeah, all
Once
the time.
or twice a drive.
Right. Okay.
I've watched a few Jaguars.
We go on new topic here.
Okay. The reason I'm bringing that up is
We go on new
because-
topic here, or we
No,
Hold
we
on.
just
no,
segue.
I'm-
Okay, cool. Go.
The reason I'm bringing that up is that's part of the natural athleticism, or lack thereof, where you have to preserve yourself.
Right.
You can't. Some pitchers throw with bad arms,
Mhm.
but they know sooner or later they're going to have to take time off, or they have to come out of the game. But they play through it, and
Well,
that's
that applies for different
that's
sports.
that's the natural thing I'm talking about that we're not getting to. That I think these guys, these superhumans with these substances, are able to bypass and not feel anymore like the old days. That's all.
What if you went the other way though? Everything's legal.
Good point.
Well,
Good
no,
luck.
That's
if you
the
went
old
that
one.
way,
That's
that's
the old
some like barbaric, like gladiator
But
shit.
just do it.
You're gonna
Okay.
have people getting
But
destroyed.
here's the deal: raise their pay.
You don't need to raise their pay. They get paid more than enough.
Well, I mean, insurance-wise, because all these guys are taking out insurance now on their legs, on their arms.
So
No,
why
you
does
would
the
have
NFL need to
no. You would
sacrifice
have more specific contracts when they're signed.
I
You would
kinda-
say we're not liable for what you do to your body. We are reimbursing you at a certain rate, and this is your call.
Not bad.
No, I'm serious. That's how it is. And you know what? That would be great for television. Tell me that wouldn't. You got a guy on Adderall, cocaine, and steroids. Tell me that guy's not going to kill
That's our
somebody.
strong safety. What's wrong with him? He's foaming at the mouth.
He's
Hey,
He's about to make a
hey,
play.
He's running zoomies.
Imagine-
in the backfield.
Imagine Mean Joe Green doing bath salts and just like trying to eat people
Bites
on the
his face
field.
off.
I would say this,
Lines up without a
at least, and this is weird, it's honest. At least they're
At
saying,
least it would be like real.
yes, they're doing this and that's what's going on. And I think if that happened, we'd still watch it. They'd
Oh,
still
we
go to the
absolutely.
game.
I would watch it
TV
even more.
would still.
It would take a
advertise.
lot for me to not watch
It
it.
would-
Exactly,
It would
right?
kick up a
It would
notch.
be NFL Blitz in real life,
Okay,
and it would be
you gotta
fantastic.
see this guy. He's fucked up on crack. Lawrence Taylor is killing it.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor makes a huge go back.
It would be insane.
Lamar Odom smoking crack on the court
A new
again.
term to, or a new feeling to crack back block, right?
Yeah.
It's-
It would be like Death Race.
They
We'd
don't
just
be-
be watching Death
They-
Race.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Every
But
single
without
one of them
cards,
doing the
she would
haka
be-
before the game, just
You know what I'd be watching? I'd be watching roller derby.
I was just
Oh
gonna
my
bring
God.
it up, man. Roller, you may as well watch roller derby.
Oh my god.
This wouldn't
Alright.
happen if everybody. I'll end it with this. This wouldn't happen if everybody just went the TB12.
Oh my God! Please
And started
edit
eating
this
kale.
the fuck out.
And started doing smoothies.
Here, one more.
And they'd
fucking
last till
Tom
they're in
Brady
their
story.
40s
I swear to
in a
God,
Super
one
Bowl.
less
Hey,
podcast
hey,
of
can
the
we get
podcast.
a library real quick?
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the 5th podcast. This was a mess. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
I can't wait to relapse.
I'm out.
TB12.